All right, I think we can start now. So we said the whole of this week we are dealing with final provisions. In every bill, there are four parts: preliminary, principal, miscellaneous, and final provisions. So the whole of this week we have been dealing with final provisions. Oscar, please put up the subheadings under final provisions. Now, what we want is each of you should identify one part of final provision, take it, give us a real life example from a legislation, read from one section of an existing law. So let's start with Madam Anino. I think it's arranged alphabetically. Yes, Madam Anino, can you hear us? Yes. Okay, we move to the next. Oscar, can you pick? I know you're doing some work, but pick one part of final provision and yes. Okay, so read from a law. For example, give us a specific law and read the saving provision. Okay. So can you post on the other day I posted the Pensions Act. Okay, let me post the NDDC Act. I mean, I'll send it to you, then you post it on this platform so that people can see. An example of a legislation that has these provisions about savings and transitional. So the example we want to give is called Niger Delta Development Commission Act. Now, this act was established in the year 2000 to replace another agency that was called Oil Mineral Development Commission, OMPADEC. So it's a good law to know how final provisions are written. Oscar, I've sent it to you. Please share it on the chat box so that everybody will see. Now, I will also put it on our WhatsApp groups. So people can see what we're trying to talk about. So when one agency comes to replace another agency, the OMPADEC was established in the year 1993. So this new one was established in the year 2000. So between 93 and 2000, how many years? So 7 years or so, yes. Oscar, have you posted it on the platform, on the chat? Okay. So let's move to the next participant. Let's Let's see. Please identify a final provision. Tell us how it works.
Prof, I'm looking at the Lesotho Labour Act, Section 220,
Okay.
and it reads as follows.
Yes.
Notwithstanding the repeal made in Section 219,
Mhm.
a directive, notice, or other legislative instrument or document made or issued under any authority of the Labour Code Order 1992 or
Mhm.
its regulations,
Mhm.
except insofar as the former are inconsistent with the provisions of this Act, shall remain in force until such time as they shall have expired or have been revoked, replaced, or cancelled under the provisions of this Act.
Okay. You see what the drafter has done. The drafter is a bit lazy. Instead of listing all the regulations that were made under the labor code,
Okay.
he has used an omnibus. We call this omnibus. This is not how we draft. This is not how we draft. He's supposed to list it. If it's too much, he creates a schedule. The drafter is supposed to create a schedule. The list of all the regulations made under this, which are not inconsistent with the Labor Act, should have been listed. At least just the title. Yes, Lesson Yahoo, yes, you can speak.
Good afternoon, Prof.
Yes,
I see a similar incident under our Road Transport Act
yes,
1980.
okay,
Section 30 of it
yes.
is a repealing section. It says, subject to the provisions of subsection 2 and 3, Division B Road Transport of the Road Traffic and Transport Order 1970 is repealed. And then subsection 2 says,
Mm-hmm.
any regulation, notice, order, prohibition, authority, permission, information, or document issued, made, given, or granted, and any other action taken under any provisions of the law repealed by subsection 1 shall, if not inconsistent with the provisions of this Act, be deemed to have been issued, made, given, granted, or taken under the corresponding provisions of this Act.
Mm. That's another example of, it's called omnibus.
Yes,
Check
sir.
the meaning of omnibus means you want to cover everything without being specific. So that's a lazy way of drafting. Drafting is not for lazy people. Ideally, you need to go specifically ordered so and so order by their names, by the year. So that's why you have final provisions. Final provisions can be lengthy. If they are lengthy, you create a schedule. Scheduled to section 30 sub, that's what they should have done. The list of regulations that have been repealed by this new Transport Act. Then they list it. You can't do this. This is called omnibus. In legislative drafting, everything is specific. Nothing is implied. So drafting is not for lazy. It's not a lazy man's job.
Yes, sir. And in a transitional provision
Mm-hmm.
is made under the same section, subsection 3. It
Okay.
says, any person appointed under the provisions of the repealed law to perform duties which are similar to those duties which would be required of a person appointed to an office under this Act shall, whether or not he holds the qualifications in terms of this Act for such office, be deemed to have been appointed to such office in terms of this Act. So it speaks to the appointment of the previous officers.
Okay, good, good. That's a transitional. That's good.
Yes, sir.
That's good. So I'm happy we're identifying these things. You learn from the mistake of others, but this transitional is well drafted. It's well drafted. Oscar, have you posted? Hello, Oscar, you have not posted. Okay, so someone else should look for another real life legislation and identify the final provisions, the sections that are the final provisions. Any other person? I am happy you guys are getting this lesson. Yahoo. Do you know somebody asked me a question today? In real life, every day you encounter these issues when a bill is not well drafted. Then it creates confusion, then litigation. Yes, Masupa, you raise your hand?
Oh, thank you, Prof. I'm looking at our Lesotho Land Act of 2010, particularly Section 86, under the title on law remedies not affected. It reads as follows: nothing in this act shall take away or interfere with the right of the state or a person to recover under common law, compensation or damage for injury caused by an offense committed under this act.
Say again, what's the name of this legislation?
No, it's Land Act number 8 of 2010, Lesotho. Yes, Prof.
Okay, so please read it again. I didn't get that.
It's section 86.
Mm-hmm.
86. It says, nothing in this act shall take away or interfere with the right of the state or a person to recover under common law, compensation or damage for injury caused by an offense committed under this act.
Okay.
Yes, Prof.
Okay, so this this legislation does not prevent people from common law remedies. Hello?
It says, my interpretation is that if you have a claim, a delictual claim against a person who has committed an offense under this act, you are at liberty to lodge that claim. It means like basically the same with any other act, with any other criminal offense, whereby a person will still have a common law remedy to claim damages like for an offense.
Okay, so apart from the
Nothing new.
common law remedy, this legislation, does it provide remedies too? You can sue under this legislation. Who prosecutes under this legislation?
The Director of Public Prosecution prosecutes under this legislation.
Okay.
Yes.
So they still give you the right. If you don't want DPP to prosecute, you can prosecute yourself as a common law lawsuit.
Yes, for common law damages, you can prosecute. You can institute a civil action.
That's tort. It's a tort.
A tort, yes, a delict tort. Oh, I
Okay.
remember that you are in Nigeria. You are English common law, so here we are Roman Dutch law. So it's a tort, Prof. Yes, of course.
Okay. Well, this may be peculiar to you because in our jurisdiction, if there's an agency to prosecute, you need the consent of the Attorney General. It's called fiat. You need a fiat. They cannot give DPP prosecutorial power and now still allow private citizens. It's not allowed in our country, except the private person gets a fiat from the Attorney General.
In Lesotho, we have our Criminal Procedure and Evidence Act. I just forget the exact section. It says if the DPP, Director of Public Prosecutions, declines to prosecute,
Yes.
and the key word is declines, a private person can take it upon themselves to institute criminal proceedings against the perpetrator. So we call it knowledge. The document that the DPP issues is called knowledge prosecute.
Yes. So if the DPP has issued knowledge prosecute, then the private person can now sue, right?
That is correct, Prof.
Ah.
But the DPP is also given the right under the CPNE to say if the proceedings, she realizes, oh, there's actually a case here, she can intervene in the private prosecution to say, oh, okay, stop, I'll take it from here. Then the DPP can take over. So I recently read a judgment from South Africa, like 2 days back, whereby, well, it was a summary, whereby their act authorizes them to recover cost of suit from the DPP, like full cost of suit. So they accuse the to say, look, you realize that there was an actual case that we have made before court. We went all the way to the mitigating stage, but you let the civil, the private, or they call them AfriForum, to continue with the private prosecution. So you are liable for the full costs. Yes, Prof. Earlier, well, I wasn't even aware that you can actually claim cost of suit from the DPP for what you have acquired in the knowledge prosecute. So now I got the legislative wisdom behind giving the DPP the power to intervene mid proceedings to say, I'll take it from here.
So you can see drafting. Yes, Betty.
Okay, thank you, Professor. I am looking at the Lesotho Sexual Offences Act of 2003.
Yes.
And under the savings, I came upon section 36.
Okay.
And it says the repeal by this act of the Women and Girls Protection Proclamation 1949 and common law rape shall not apply to any offense that was committed before the commencement of this act. And on the issues, section 37, section 1, it says the Women and Girls Protection Proclamation of 1949 is repealed.
Okay.
And subsection 2 says the offense of rape at common law is repealed. So I've identified those two provisions under savings in terms of section 36 and repeals on section 37.
Good, excellent. This was well done. This is well done. So we can see these are practical things. You don't leave them in common law jurisdiction. The judge cannot imply. Therefore, everything has to be in black and white. What the legislature wants should be in black and white. If you say you want private prosecution, you state it. If midway private prosecutor gives out and he wants to give it back to DPP, the legislation should state it clearly. Shouldn't be subject to litigation. That's how drafting is done. Okay. Any other person wants to give us a law? Yes, Oscar. Before, let me blast Oscar. Oscar, but he's trying, not being a full-fledged lawyer, he's still trying. He read the act, he said he did not see any final provisions. Now, the drafters of an act, they may take savings, the savings provision, put it, instead of putting it towards the end, they went to put it near the miscellaneous. So when Oscar looked, he didn't see it. He said there was no final provisions. But now he wants to redeem himself. Go ahead, Oscar. Okay, so this is another example of inelegant drafting. Now, you need to create a schedule. I told you, the ranking in the old commission may not be the same with the new commission. I gave you an example. In the police, promotion goes by captain, this and that and that. Now, no, not captain, inspector. Now, we have an agency in Nigeria, it's called Nigerian Civil Defense Corps. Now, when it was created in 2007, the ranking is not the same as police, but officers from police were used to populate this new corps. Now, in police, you have inspector, assistant commissioner of police, deputy commissioner of police, ASP, superintendent of police. But in this one, they call them commandants. So if you're drafting this sort of section, transitional, an inspector who was with police who joins this this thing should be on the rank of commandant. So you need to create a schedule where you state the equivalent rank from police to the new agency. You don't just say yes, they are staff. They were staff of the old commission. They are now staff of the new. But at what level should they? You have to specify. Somebody who was director in the former staff agency should also be a director. So the ranking of this new agency, you create a schedule and create how the old staff will be designated. Well done. I'm happy we are getting this. Any other person wants to give us example of a real life legislation with the final provisions? You read from the final provisions. That's the way you know you understand this topic. Look for a real life legislation. Look for the final provisions. Anybody? Anybody wants to try? I've posted this, there's a law in Nigeria where an old agency was replaced by a new one. Yes, let's see. Give us your example.
Thank you, Prof. My example is found under the Building Control Act 1995, or the Lesotho Building Control Act.
Okay.
Section 41 reads as follows: the following enactments are repealed in the manner and to the extent specified hereunder. Then these pieces of legislations are, there are about 5 of them.
Good, good,
They have been listed and then they are repealed.
good. Now, because there
Then,
are 5,
yes.
if it was up to 10, you need a schedule. Okay, go ahead.
Then section 42
Mhm.
is on consequential amendments.
Excellent. How many
Then
items? How many sections?
uh, the sections which have been amended are 1, 2, 3, 4 of
Of
the Land Act 1979.
excellent. Oh, it's just one legislation that was
It's
consequent.
just one legislation which had conflicting sections with the Control Act, and then they effected these amendments.
Excellent. Now, how does the section begin? Does it use notwithstanding?
The section 42 on consequential amendments.
Yes, please.
It reads as follows. It says the Land Act 1979 is amended, and then it proceeds to in
Go,
sub A to
go
say
ahead. Go ahead and read. The Land Act has been amended. Then, how does it
it
read?
says in paragraph 2 of the first schedule, by deleting the words minister for his approval and substituting the words building authority as established by the Building Control Act 1994 for its approval.
Then read the second.
B, in paragraph 5 of the first schedule, by adding the following words at the end thereof, then quotation marks, or where no public utility sewers exist within 30 meters of the boundary of the plot, such alternative means of etc. and waste disposal which comply with the provisions of the Building Control Act 1994, end of quote.
Excellent.
C, in paragraph 11 of the first schedule, by deleting the word minister and substituting the words building authority as established by the Building Control Act 1994.
Excellent. Now, if you read the legislative history, why did they replace minister with the authority? It could be that the minister was abusing the power to grant land, whatever, licenses or whatever. So you can see this law is 1994. When things were changing, people were thinking it's not good to give one man power over land. So let's give it to an authority. So you can see the effects, the consequential amendments. Excellent. I'm happy. Okay, any other person wants to give us from a real life legislation an example? Colleagues from Nigeria, today you are not on fire. Hello? Hello? Any other person wants to give us an example from a real life legislation? The final provisions. We just want the final provisions. Okay. Lesson Yahoo, you want to go again?
Yes, sir. I'm looking at what's this? It's just it's income tax. It's so long I can't even find the. Sorry about that. Yes, it's the Income Tax Act of 1981. We're looking at, it has so many schedules though. We're looking at section Section 110 it speaks to the repeal, and Section 111 to transitional provisions. Section 110 says the Income Tax Order 1972 is repealed, and Section 111 1 says, notwithstanding the repeal of the Income Tax Order 1972, hereinafter in this section referred to as the order, that order shall continue to have effect in respect of years of assessment ending on or before the 31st March 1981. And subsection 2 says, all appointments made under the order 1972 and subsisting at the date of commencement of this act shall be deemed to be appointments made under this act. So these are transitional provisions. And subsection 3 says any taxation agreement to which section 12.3 of the order relates shall continue to have effect under this act.
Okay.
Transition as well. And subsection 4 says an oath of secrecy taken under the order shall be deemed to have been taken under this act. It goes on and on. It has quite a number.
The oath of secrecy, like the date of that order, is it put there?
Well, this is Act 1981, so it's repealing a 1972 order, Income Tax Order
Oh,
1972.
good.
Yes, sir. So apparently, somewhere within the order, one could take an oath of secrecy. So this one says an oath of secrecy taken under that order shall be deemed to have been taken under this act. So what was done under the order continues to 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 take effect even under the new act.
Well done. That's good. Yes, Masopo, you have another one.
It's actually a question, Prof.
Is a
It's a question.
okay.
Yes. Unfortunately, I don't have my constitution right in front of me, but I think it's supposed to be Lesotho Constitution of 1967. It's an old repealed constitution. Uh, in the section that talks about the office of the king, there is a provision that says a person holding the office of the paramount chief shall hold the title of king after the commencement of this constitution. So it was a transition from Lesotho being a protectorate into an independent kingdom. So can we classify that provision as a final clause, even if it appears up there in the constitution?
Yes, it's final.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Yes, you still raise your hand.
Oh, sorry about that, Prof. I'm having control problems here.
Okay. Okay. So, any other person who wants to show us final provisions you can identify from any legislation? Okay, so I've posted on our platform a legislation and the final, some part of the final provision. So just be looking at, when you pick up a law, look at it and identify what you can do, which is the final provision. Because as you do that, you are also learning. So don't take it for granted. Just keep doing what, looking at legislation in your spare moments. You don't need to be drafting. Just look at it in your spare moments. You say, oh, so this is the this thing.